It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Did anyone see this story? Alexandria Ocasio, I've been calling her Crazio, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, called Sarah Huckabee a liar. This is from Breitbart's Penny Star. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders a liar in a tweet to Sanders' father, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, after he tweeted to chide the Democrat Socialists for comparing her election to Congress to the 1969 moon landing. Ocasio-Cortez responded on Twitter by saying that a fossil fuel America would take the same determination that the space exploration milestone took, meaning, I guess, a fossil fuel-free America. She then slammed Huckabee's daughter, quote, "A Green New Deal will take a level of ambition plus innovation on the scale of the moon landing," Ocasio-Cortez tweeted. "We've done it before, and we can do it again." Now, this is interesting. Joining us now, I want to introduce you to Dr. Jay Lehr. He is a PhD in the science, is the science director at the Heartland Institute. You can find out more at heartland.org. Dr. Lehr, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Paul. A pleasure to be with you.
Absolutely. So tell us just a little bit about the left. I've heard this before. The left is calling for a Green New Deal. What do you think about that?
Well, I think they want to destroy America as we know it. They want to reverse industrialization, lower the standard of living on the way to a fossil-free world. It is impossible. They are so dumb, they don't seem to understand that for every kilowatt of solar power and wind power they spend our tax money on, they have to have 100% backup of fossil fuel power plants, be they coal or oil or natural gas. They have to be on the ready for when the wind doesn't blow correctly and the sun doesn't shine. So it cannot be done. But on the way to using our tax money to continue to support more wind turbines and solar farms, we will lower the standard of living, eliminate most of the industrialization. It's physically impossible, but they will bankrupt us on the way. Now, they'll wake up one day and recognize that that is the case, but it will be too late for many, because the people affected the most are those in the lower economic levels, because their energy costs are a higher percentage of their family income than people that are better off. It is the worst thing in the world. They want to spend more money on researching green things. They want to make it impossible to provide electricity with fossil fuel, and they think wrongly that emitting carbon dioxide has anything bad. There is no physical evidence whatsoever, Paul, that the carbon dioxide emissions that have increased since the World War II have had any impact on the temperature of this planet. Everything you read that says, oh, we're in trouble, we're at a tipping point, it's all mathematical equations that were ginned up by people getting billions of dollars from the government to prove that increasing carbon dioxide is going to increase the planet temperature, and that's a bad thing. Everything about it is wrong-headed, and of course that woman is a moron. Now, I think she's wonderful for the conservative movement, because people will wake up eventually to the fact that she is a moron. On the other hand, it's sort of nice that America is such a free society that a moron can be elected to our Congress.
We're talking with Dr. Jay Lehr. He's director of science at the Heartland Institute. You're exactly right. I really, really appreciate your sentiment. And yet, as we say that, as you are speaking the truth, sir, there are so many young people that believe. I mean, I'm 34 years old, and I remember the beginning of the indoctrination, because I used to watch, as a young kid, I watched Nickelodeon, and I remember Al Gore and Linda Ellerbee, being given a platform about, telling people about, I don't know if it was global warming then. I don't even know what it was, but I definitely knew something about the environment. You know what I mean?
Paul, you've really hit on something. Through my entire life, there has been an environmental scare. There's money in scaring people. Unfortunately, the news media, as you well know, if it bleeds, it leads. But you're absolutely right. I could give you a list of 30 things that we were concerned about, whether it's the ozone hole or acid rain or in the 70s global cooling. And when the global warming scare is over, I guarantee you there'll be something new. And as a matter of fact, the sun has been quite dormant in this current cycle, and most intelligent climatologists will tell you that probably in 20 years, the temperature of the planet will drop a degree Fahrenheit or so.
So we've got these people that believe this stuff, especially young people, especially the millennials. They're also looking now into socialism, and it seems like, okay, this whole idea of man-made caused climate change, their solution to the problem is socialism and Marxism. Do you agree?
Well, I agree that that's what they think is true, and unfortunately, if you're not aware of history, you're guaranteed to repeat it. And socialism has failed everywhere in the world for well over a century, and they don't have a good understanding of history. Thankfully, we have Venezuela as an example, and we still have Cuba as an example of socialist countries that are totally failing. But you're right. The millennials have gone through a school system that did not recognize how terrible socialism is, and they figure, why not give it a try? They see problems with capitalism. Of course, there are problems with capitalism, but it's far and away the best system that's ever been created in the world, and it has raised the economic level of everybody. I mean, the poorest of the poor are better off in a capitalist system than they have been in any other. So we need stations like yours. We need publications and websites. We need people like me out speaking every week all across the country explaining these things. It's an upward battle because the people we're battling with, they buy their ink by the barrel, and the media, you're in a small percentage of the media that's telling the truth. The rest are just leaning on fear to do the wrong thing.
We're talking with the Heartland Institute's Dr. Jay Lehr. Now, he is the author of more than 1,000 magazine and journal articles, 36 books. He's the editor of Rational Readings on Environmental Concerns. Now, I want to talk about being rational here, Dr. Lehr, because, what's interesting to me is we now have the left saying that man-made climate change is causing people's homes to burn down, is causing more hurricanes, it's causing more tornadoes. And what they are saying, and speaking of being rational, the media doesn't challenge these claims at all, because what they're saying is if we would reduce our carbon emissions, your home wouldn't have caught on fire. Aren't they really saying that they can control the weather?
Well, they are saying exactly that, Paul, and of course they're wrong on every count. There are actually less forest fires in the last 30 years than there were in the previous 30 years, but the horrible fires in California that we've all witnessed are caused really by the environmentalists that have not allowed us to pull out dead wood of the forest. They've not allowed us to create rules that you have to have a fire break around your home, a space where there are no vegetation, so if there is a fire, it doesn't leap from house to house. In reality, environmental rules that the left has in place have created problems that have increased the damage. We don't have more hurricanes or storms or forest fires. What we do have is more damage because people are living in those areas and not doing the right things to protect them. But everything you said correctly is wrong. They're 100% wrong. I wrote last year when the government started coming out with a new climate assessment, I wrote a 54-page document with a lot of help from other folks with Heartland to show the actual science to prove that we don't have more hurricanes, more forest fires, more tornadoes, more droughts, and that, in fact, carbon dioxide emissions have no relationship at all. Now, there are people that say, well, it matters a little bit, but it's not measurable. If it's not measurable, that you can't say carbon dioxide is doing bad things to our planet, then you might as well assume it's zero.
What do you think their? And we might have already talked about this, but what's their end game here? I mean, I would even if they would at least, Dr. Lehr, give me a temperature. You know, can you say when will you shut up about this? Meaning, like, what does the CO2 levels have to be? What is the temperature? They can't even tell us.
No, you said the key words. When will you shut up? The answer is never, because what their end game is more government power, elimination of personal freedom, and socialism. There isn't any question. Those three things: increased government power, elimination of personal freedom, and socialism. That's where they're going. And they are so wrong-headed. They're a very unhappy group of people, and they want control over you and your neighbors who maybe are a little happier than they are.
It says here that you were featured in the 2010 edition, the March 2010 edition of Parachute magazine for setting a new world record, having jumped from an airplane each and every month for 32 years. Do you still hold that record, sir?
I do hold the record, and it extended to 34 years and 11 months. I don't like to talk about it too much because you might think I'm crazy. That's 35 winters I jumped in central Ohio, but skydiving is my hobby. My streak ended at 34 years and 11 months when in a bicycle race I crashed and broke my hip, and I had to miss 3 months of skydiving. Now, I can still break that old record of 34 years and 11 months, but I have to live to be 114. But I'm going to give it a try.
That's fantastic. Oh, well, yeah, so definitely. I feel like that's great. Congratulations on that record. And
thank you.
Really appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. You know, you make great points, and I'd love to have you on again sometime, Dr. Lehr.
Paul, I am delighted to be chatting with you, and you can call me anytime. This is what I do, try to re-educate the public and undo the damage that the leftists do in spewing lie after lie after lie.
All right. Dr. J. Lehr, everybody, we appreciate it, sir. You have a great week.
You too. Thank you.